So, let me tell you, I had the speculation that I was this hike guy, Heiko. I had the speculation that I was him, because at this one point, at this time, I found out and then I saw, because I was looking into what could be possible with my past lives, and I didn't know. I did not know. So that means that I should know Kung Fu, I should know Shaolin, I should know Shaolin, 18 forms, and that's the original one. But then I guess it's something that's like so innate in Chinese psyche, Chinese like, because this guy was a king. Not everyone practiced in that type of form, and he actually made China benefit from it being like his own kind of kingdom too, as well. Because even in the media, it's so profound now. It's so much there. So when Bodhidharma brought those 18 forms, it was like bringing his whole kingdom. And his kingdom was a real kingdom. So naturally he went to his own kingdom where his soul provides on this earth. And not for everyone, there's not always that type of kingdom. For instance, now there can't be that type of kingdom unless you have your own type of land and you make your own kingdom. So he went to the 4 mountains. The mountain of Ta, the mountain of songs, and there's 2 other mountains shaped into 4 square, all the same sizes, and it pretty much it mimics the way that his kingdom looked and the way those mountains looked. And he trained in the martial arts for all that time in his kingdom because he was a prince, so naturally he was a martial artist, one of the first of them. So he could travel knowing Kung Fu in a time where no one else knew what Kung Fu was. So he was the real story of Kung Fu. And he's actually the real prophet of Kung Fu. And people praise that guy as almost like a god, like they would in India. But this guy is not an Indian god that so much you praise, because China's not India. China doesn't have all the statues that they have in India and all these ritualistic areas that are meant for like one god. I think in China a lot of it's Buddhist, and a lot of other probably religions have stepped in as well. So if you can contemplate in one day, or what is it like? It's a long day, and then now you have to imagine being the first practitioner coming from India as a prince, giving you his own stretches and giving it to the right people whose actual rhythm naturally invigorated by it, and it created something ephemeral in this land. So every single day this guy could flip kick you in the face on the right side of your cheek in a time that no one knew what Kung Fu was, like in areas where no one knew what Kung Fu was and what it was, and they didn't know what the world was really. But it wasn't about that. That's just another point. But it was not about that. His own being was magnetic at that time because people's minds are so crazy. A lot of the time it's just standing around and You know, because at that time it'd be very easy to flow. Very easy to flow. Very easy to flow. Being an Indian and then going into the Chinese world is like being the first black person to walk inside white sentence. Or to be like the first Irish person to be thrown into a country amongst another form of drunkards who are just enjoying life, like who don't have really so much, but they have in this life a chance to express their pain in the right settings, in a peaceful place like the Philippines, where everyone's just drinking, where everyone is peaceful because they're drinking and they know how to drink. It's almost as like a getting drunk community where everyone helps each other to drink. So that means if you're walking up the sidewalk, everyone's there to help you. So when everyone's there to help you, naturally it's easier to move around, to walk around. And especially having that with you in the training, just in this training, in the flips and the high kicks, in those periods and in those days, wielding a huge staff. Now, even with that staff, it's more safe, way more safe, and always jingling. His staff didn't necessarily have to permit the scene if his staff was always jingling, but in only a few of his pictures it shows, like, I think it's rings on his staff. So he might have had rings, might have not. Like, this guy could have done anything he wanted to. He might have picked up the leaves and glued them to him. Who knows what this guy's done? You know what I'm trying to say? This guy resurrected as well. People praise him as a god. So, like, even this guy, Bodhidharma, should be within the categories of someone like Musashi. Because it's the same idea, okay? It depends where this guy was. If this guy happened to be God knows what, but this guy knew in those times, he knew what he was doing. But just the idea of a whole day, in a whole day, something can change, something can happen. You can something immediate that's within your distance on the path of where you're going, because once you have some place to go, you're going somewhere you know what I'm saying? You find home. When you travel, you find home, because the home that you're in for a period of time is more so somewhere else that you don't know. So you learn those languages, you go there, you visit, somehow you're drawn there, maybe from a past life, Who knows? It could be anything that goes in front of your path. So anyone could wind up like the extreme. For instance, if you're born in Japan, which is not what I'm trying to say, but for instance, if he wasn't a prince, then it's way different. But this guy was a prince, so he was walking like this as a prince through the valleys, and he was still a prince when he walked there. So that's a good place. But if you know, who knows what? Sorry, this music kind of dies down, and it dies. I've kind of felt swayed by music as it progresses naturally to be a really good musician and to tap into different mixtures of sounds. To try to find the mystery of every mixture of sound. And to tap into it, and then you become that mystery of sound for a while. That's why when you're in the forest you can't really see these things. I'm just waking up. I'm just waking up. Hey yo, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to. Hi. Strange thing about me is that I can tan really darkly. And the other strange about me is I can look like an ugly white person. It's really funny. Training and practicing on these rinks are the same as almost combat in a way. I think that a boundary between NBA and one is combat. There's more combat. In a real combat, it's every one person making one arena, whereas you got a whole arena making one person in the NBA. But these people are so trained professionals. that the people in the NBA could easily add to the N1 setting, but what I'm trying to say is the different forms that you can get and the different mixtures in the N1 the boundaries aren't limited. So the same way when a hockey player is outside and on the pond or the lake, however they originated it, in very violent, attack-worthy settings, where you have to appreciate the stick, you have to appreciate your skates, those blades. You have to appreciate this. From then on, you have to appreciate the tape on your stick, and that's all you have to appreciate. You become your own padding, and the wind becomes your own setting, rather than the crowd. Nature becomes your crowd. And it's the same as like sword fighting, or even knockout boxing, if you will. With your gloves, appreciate the stick on your skates, on your tape, on your sole. On the ice and the wind, so you can fly across Canada. You can fly across these cold places. So that each interaction between another player is an actual meeting of its own match, its own arena, so that it's not 5 versus 5. It's more like it's 10 versus 10. I'm talking football, basketball. Where each one of those players is throwing the bowling ball directly at the pin and knocking them all down at once, so that that game has provided you something more than this guy dunks, this guy shoots. The different elements that are in a different setting, which is the same as playing music inside, playing music outside, playing music on an open boat, and playing music within these walls. In these walls here. So you soundproof a studio, and it's more like nature without those vibrations. So the same way you can approach rapping is that way. Is that anything you can think of, you can approach it in a different way. It's strange, like something Osho would have said is like, we have hip hop, but how come they always say rapping? Why don't they say hip hopping? Jazzing. You can get away with saying jazzing, rocking. What about hip hopping? and one type of sports is pretty much hip hopping, or let's say Wayne Gretzky when he's a kid on the outdoor rink in front of his house, Gordon Bombay on the rink outside of his house, even me on the pond just as them, same way as them, just outside of my house. Well, let's say for instance, Bodhidharma was to travel in the cold climates, it would be completely different for him. He would be flipping with skates, and that's a different level. He would be kung fuing with his skates on. And in this game, which is a Caucasian sport, you have people who are only boxing, and they're sticking to only boxing because it's naturally. I don't know if it's in people in their. I'm not gonna say it's in their blood, but like Irish people or Scottish people, these types of white people, it's kind of like a boxing type of thing is kind of like built in them because they're supposed to be skating with hockey gloves on. And I'm gonna have to give you a demonstration. Zorba the Buddha. Something like that, if you understand what I mean. It's kind of like a shaky fist type of, just like, you know, the fighting. If you ever seen the Fighting Irish picture, that type of. So, like for instance, if Bodhidharma went into the NHL, this guy would literally jump off the edge of the boards, spin, kick you in the face, and kill you. That's why I'm saying that every player in the NHL should be a trained UFC player, trained poker player, trained cartoon player. They should change their last names for the good of the sport, for how much they love being an athlete in this occupation. In the NHL or the NBA or the NFL. Yeah, I gotta show you someone. Can catch you off guard, really. Anyways. Most people wouldn't do that. Alright, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to this. Thank you.